Saint Gemma versus the Devil. Attacks by the Devil. The information for this article is from The Life of Saint Gemma Galgani by Venerable Father Germanus C.P. God, in order to purify his elect and render them victims of expiation for themselves and for others, makes use even of the demons, who because of their hatred of souls and their increased intelligence become very profitable instruments to the attainment of his ends. Thus our Lord, when he made known to our holy founder, Saint Paul of the Cross, founder of the Passionists editor, that he willed to raise him to a high degree of sanctity, spoke thus: I will have thee trampled underfoot by the devils. And, in like manner, Jesus said to his servant Gemma, Be prepared, my child. The devil, at my bidding, will be the one who, by the war he will rage against you, will give the last touch to the work that I will accomplish in you. In the early letter to Father Germano, Gemma writes, During the last 2 days Jesus has been telling me after Holy Communion, My daughter, the devil will soon wage a great war against you. These words I hear in my heart continuously. Please pray for me, who will win this battle, the devil or my soul? How sad this thing makes me. Where will the war come from? I am forever thinking about it instead of praying Jesus to give me strength and help. Now I have told you, and I leave this matter to you, that you may help me. Your poor Gemma. Gemma soon learned that the best way to defend herself against the demons and to reach God's ends is through prayer, which she practiced with all the ardor of her soul. What then did not the enemy do to prevent it? To weary her he would try to upset her temperament. He caused her violent headaches so that she might be obliged to go to bed, rather than remain in prayer, and strove in numerous other ways to distract her from this holy exercise. Oh, she once said to me, what torment this gives me, not to be able to pray. What fatigue it costs me. How many efforts does not that wretch make to make it impossible for me to pray? Yesterday evening he tried to kill me, and would have succeeded if Jesus had not come quickly to my aid. I was terrified and kept the image of Jesus in my mind, but I could not pronounce his name. At other times, he attacked her differently. What are you doing? He said, blaspheming. How stupid you are to pray to that malefactor. Look at the harm he does thee, keeping thee nailed to the cross with himself. How then can you care for him whom you don't even know, who makes all who love him suffer? But these and all his other evil suggestions were as dust before the wind, and only served to afflict her at hearing her Jesus outraged by such blasphemies. In the midst of so much suffering, the servant of God found comfort in the direction and advice of her spiritual director, the author of these lines editor. This the wicked enemy could not bear, and tried to turn her away from her spiritual guide. He depicted her director as an ignorant, fanatical, deluded man, and with so many arguments strove to convince and terrify her that the poor child thought herself all but lost. Hence on one occasion she wrote for some days, Giappino, a name she called the devil, has pursued me in every guise and way, and has done all in his power against me. This monster keeps on redoubling all his efforts to ruin me and tries to deprive me of whomever directs or advises me. But even should this happen, I am not afraid. Notice her virtue of detachment. Seeing that with all his efforts he could not succeed in shaking her confidence in her director, he resorted to acts of violence, and, assaulting her while she persevered in writing, he snatched the pen from her hand and tore up the paper, then dragged her from the table, seizing her by the hair with such violence that it came off in his brutal claws. Then withdrawing in fury he shouted, War against thy father, Venerable Germanus, the author of these lines editor, war as long as he lives. Believe me, Father, she said to me, to hear this despicable wretch one would say that his fury was against you more than against me. Gemma's nickname for the devil was Giappino, which is the equivalent of burglar. Saint John Vianney's nickname for him was Grappin, which is the equivalent of wrestler editor.